What is going on, everybody? It is episode 757 of Pop Culture Crisis. My name is Brett, and I am here once again with my co-host. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Hello, Crisis Actors. It's Mary. Before we move on, I don't want to forget to read this $20 super chat from Shane H. Wilder. Happy Taco Tuesday, Brett and Mary. I'm back. I survived driving across Texas in a winter storm. I even did some memes while out of town. Mary Malcolm X raises power fist from IRL. Congrats on getting the play button, by the way. Thank you.
Shane was gone for like everything.
Yeah, you missed so many historic moments on the show, but you're welcome back.
You probably shouldn't have like asked for them to not meme the
just don't mention
that. It would have been best to just let it go.
That's going to be how I'm remembered.
That's okay. You know, that's okay. It's funny. I actually mentioned to Mary, so we have like soundproof carpeting in here, and it's got like a tree on it that I swear looks like the red salute.
I saw the one that you pointed out, but you must be looking for things like that.
It's pareidolia.
You're searching for communism everywhere you go.
It's everywhere you go, guys. We got a bunch of stuff to get into today, but before we get started, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already, especially if you are new here. You know, remember to share the video out with your friends, your family, your loved ones, people you like, people you do not like even. They probably follow somebody on social media that you don't like, somebody who you hate follow, and check up on them. You should share the videos and the live streams with them.
I want to start a poll. I wish that we thought of this.
Okay.
I want to start a poll and ask the chat, do you hate watch? Are you a hate watcher?
Okay. Like as in like
of YouTube
anything?
channels, of movies, of TV shows. It doesn't matter what you watch. But I don't know if I hate watch. I definitely cringe watch things.
Okay. Here I'm putting up. It is now up there. If you are live in the chat, everyone, it says, do you hate watch stuff? Yes or no?
I bet there are a healthy amount of people who subscribe to this channel because they hate watch us.
That would be nice.
There are PCC hate watchers.
It comes up too because it's what I've kind of come to realize through watching a lot of video essays lately is like hate watching is good for one season. So remember when Rings of Power came out? There was all this hullabaloo around the show. And then nobody cared when the second season came out. Ditto for Velma. Nobody really cared about the second awful season because the novelty had worn off.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. So
I agree.
You can hate watch us for much longer than that because we don't break them up into seasons.
No, we're still in season 1.
Season 1, episode 757.
No, I think that the studio change was definitely the start of a new season for the show. So we are definitely in season 2.
Well, according to our Spotify,
in my mind,
one season.
My mind, we're in season 2.
Okay.
On Spotify, we are still in season 1.
Fair enough.
We've just gotten started.
We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. So number one being, and this one did legitimately surprise me when I read about this yesterday, Carrie Underwood, who's actually like a mainstream musical artist who's, pretty relevant in, current year, is going to be performing at Donald Trump's inauguration. I believe she's going to be performing America the Beautiful. Yes. And the Village People, too, are going to be performing there live.
I thought that was like a separate
Well, but I'm saying at a Trump event live.
Yeah.
I think they're going to do more than one. I think from what I saw, they're get the bag.
I heard that.
That's what they call securing the bag.
Yeah, I heard that they're one of Trump's favorite acts.
Yeah,
so
it's the dance. So we're going to talk about Carrie Underwood choosing to do this.
By the way, she's married to a hockey player.
That's perfect.
Now you like her even more.
Yeah, she's the most American thing you could possibly think of. So they're going to put her music videos on the citizenship test. That's what they're going to do. You're going to have to watch it. Yeah. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Bonnie Blue, professional whore and time management consultant, because she set some record for, who is the other lady? Lily Phillips. Lily Phillips.
They all run together.
So she was it was breaking 1,000. She broke 100 guys, and she had the plan to break 1,000 guys, and this lady's like, nay, I'm gonna do it first, and then just came up out of nowhere and set the record with like 1,057 dudes in less than 12 hours, or in 12 hours.
12 hours.
12 hours.
Not even 24.
Like I said, my post on X was like, when you're at a job interview and they ask about your time management skills, this is who they're comparing you to. she is the benchmark. So we're going to talk about that.
Yeah, she beat Lily to it.
Poor Lily.
Hopefully Lily gives up on her dream now.
Yeah. And we are also going to cover, I don't think that that's going to happen. Lily's like, yeah, but does your mom do your booking? Like...
Yeah.
We'll talk about it. And also, there was this story that was going around at the end of last week about a gentleman who was 22 years old who got caught up in a To Catch a Predator-like scenario from TikTok, except for the woman that he was meeting up with was 18, which had people asking, have we gone too far with the TikTok To Catch a Predator stuff?
And we have another 20. From Kenneth Hart to read. Mary rant on 10 things. The jerk sniper station. Brett, hey Phil, look, we have defective fans. Phil, we don't have defective fans. We have a defective host. Brett, she hates these fans. Stay away from the fans. Mary D13 super chatters.
I'm so confused.
I don't know what any of that means.
There was
not even a little bit.
Funny. Did you guys see that moment? I'm not sure if anybody here watched the IRL on Friday where Phil's like, nobody important watches this show.
Yeah, that
I was like,
that was a big moment.
I was like, yes, they do. I was like, everybody who watches is important because the show doesn't exist.
It's definitely important that they watch.
Yeah. So we got a bunch of other stuff to get into today. It's going to be a packed show. So
you're all important.
All of you are. So if you are ready, shall we get started?
I think so.
All right.
I think I'm ready.
Let's talk about Robbie Williams. If you don't know who that is, don't worry. A whole ton of other people didn't know either.
I had no idea. Well, biopics for celebrities are kind of the big Hollywood studio bread and butter right now, and they are notoriously hit or miss. This one was definitely a big miss, and it's about a celebrity I had never heard of in my entire life, and neither had most Americans that were marketed this movie to see it in theaters. It's called Better Man, and it is a biopic about a singer named Robbie Williams, who is mostly known in the UK, and it's starring a chimpanzee version of him for no particular reason that I can discern. They say the wacky Robbie Williams biopic isn't exactly going bananas, with a puny $580,000 opening day at the box office.
To be fair, if you're going to be forced by your editor to write an article about a monkey, you should be allowed to make as many puns as you want.
Going bananas.
You should be allowed to do that.
Paramount acquired the feature for North America distribution for $25 million. Helmed by Greatest Showman director Michael Gracie, Better Man drew strong reviews playing fall festivals, with critics largely taken by the premise of having Williams represented by a CGI chimp. Because, as he puts it in the trailer, he always felt less evolved than other people.
I told Mary it gives off Dunstan checks in vibes. If you're from my generation, you understand that reference. I said that the problem with this was, and to preface, we didn't go see this. I didn't even really want to cover it because I didn't go see it. Everybody here knows my opinions on biopics. I hate biopics about musicians to begin with, let alone musicians I've never heard of or care about. But I will say, if they had done this without addressing the fact that it was a monkey, I would have been in. Kind of like I love the idea of them making a third Home Alone movie without addressing the fact that Macaulay Culkin is in his 40s. Like, just lean into the gig, or just do the same thing and make a version of the monkeys, a biopic about the monkeys.
Well, as far as I can tell, they don't address the fact that he's a chimp in the movie itself.
But I'm saying, but
they address it in the promotion of the movie.
Well, that's stupid. They should have been mysterious. They should
in the movie. There's no explanation for him being a chimp.
What if they're like doing the promotional tour, and the interviewer, some Collider interviewer is like, so, like, what was the inspiration behind, making Robbie a chimp in the movie? And they go, what are you talking about? Like, just pretend they're, just be like, just gaslight everyone. Like,
I did find out Robbie Williams' own explanation for this decision. And yes, he is still alive. You should not be making biopics about people who are still alive. That's ridiculous. But here was his answer. He told the AP, "I've been a cheeky monkey all my life. There's no more cheekier monkey than the coke-snorting, sex addict monkey that we find in the movie."
He said it in that
was
exact voice.
his answer in that exact accent as well. But yeah, he also explained that he wanted to be portrayed as a monkey because he believes people will be more sympathetic to a chimp than they would be to other people.
So it's like dance, monkey, dance.
He often refers to himself as a performing monkey and identifies with primates for a long time. And this is how he views himself, emphasizing his cheeky and controversial nature. He also believes that depicting himself as a chimp allows audiences to connect with his humanity better. As people care more about animals than other people, that's true. He additionally sees the chimp portrayal as a way to make the film more engaging and stand out among other musical biopics. I think that's actually true, weirdly enough. Because no Americans have heard of Robbie Williams. I mean, if you have, please, in the chat, if you have heard of Robbie Williams and you've listened to his music and you're American,
I'm sure Phil
please let us know. I don't even know, it just seems to be the universal responses from Americans. We have never heard of this guy in our entire lives. It's like a Mandela effect.
Yeah.
Like, this guy just materialized out of nowhere and everyone in the UK is obsessed with him, but none of us have any clue who he is and have never heard his music.
Yeah.
So I don't know why they thought there should be a biopic about him if he's not even relevant globally.
He's apparently he had one of the most expensive recording contracts ever given out. Like hundreds, or not hundreds, but like close to $100 million or something like that. Very, very well known in the, I mean, I guess the movie didn't do super well in the UK either. So if the movie's not going to do well where he's actually well known.
Yeah. Like, what do they do? Well, they spent $25 million just on acquiring the movie at Paramount.
Maybe the idea would have been that if he hadn't lampooned them with the idea of turning it into a CGI monkey, which would have bumped the budget up considerably, maybe it would have gone to streaming.
Maybe. But that seems to be the director's choice as well.
Yeah.
Michael Gracie, I mean, obviously The Greatest Showman was a huge success. They must have just thought that he has a good track record and this is an investment. But it's almost more confusing than the decision to make a biopic about Pharrell Williams with Legos.
At least Pharrell Williams is kind of relevant here in the U.S., so...
Kind of. Barely. Does the average person on the street know who Pharrell Williams is? Yeah, they know his song.
But the thing is like, maybe this is to tap into the millennial crowd who will find it LOL so random. Why is he a Lego? I guess we'll do that.
I guess.
Or, on the bright side, we could be returning back to the completely unhinged, coke-snorting executive phase of Hollywood, which is my personal favorite, okay?
Coke-snorting, cheeky monkeys.
I want to see a bunch of unhinged projects like this. Like, did you see the Steamboat Willie reveal for what he looks like for the horror movie coming up? Mm-hmm. It's great. Like, I just want to see the ones that are born out of a bunch of executives named Chad who are just covered in coke talking about what these crazy ideas would be. Look, if they had made the Bob Dylan biopic with a monkey, I might have gone and seen it. Probably not.
Instead of Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, instead of Timothée Chalamet, make it a monkey.
Hollywood is out of ideas. They're clearly...
This is not out of ideas, though. This is them with a new idea.
No,
it's a monkey idea.
This is taking an old idea and then adding CGI to it, and they're scraping the bottom of the barrel, clearly. Like, this is desperation. It reeks of desperation, and it's still not even getting people to buy tickets.
No, nobody showed up.
Nobody's showing up for it. This was a flop and a half, and I guess all that really changed is I know who Robbie Williams is now.
I guess the how do you plan for this ahead of time? Do you put out like a questionnaire? Do you know who Robbie Williams is?
The way they decided to market this in North American markets was emphasizing the fact that it's a chimp. Not explaining what the movie is about. It's like they wanted Americans to go see this movie about a singer who happens to be a chimp, and they didn't think it was relevant that it was a biopic.
That's what I'm saying. What if they reworked the film in the production stage, and they're like, it was going to be a biopic. What if we just make it a movie about a singing monkey, but we don't actually address in movie the fact that it's a monkey, and make it super avant-garde and weird?
If only they had you to consult. We have a 20 from Cesario JPN. I had tons of no-name accounts shill that Robbie Williams movie. I only remember him from the 1999 hit Millennium, a lighthearted homage and nod to James Bond, and 2 of his other songs on my commute to work on the radio.
Well, I mean, there you go. There's some people with some core memories.
Okay. But would you watch a movie about his life
you usually
as a chimp?
You usually need more exposure to someone's work to make going to see a movie about them more worth your time.
There are far more interesting people whose biopics also flopped.
Or they have to have a more interesting life.
They keep mishandling these biopics. I saw the Amy Winehouse biopic got almost universally panned.
I love the meme, though, because it's the Don Draper meme.
Exactly.
It's a biopic about a singer no American has heard of, and he's portrayed by a chimp.
We have another 20 from DC&C. A Brit.
Yeah.
Take That wasn't big in USA. Robbie went solo after boy band. NKOTB.
New Kids on the Block.
Oh, New Kids on the Block, not big in UK. Shrug. You've probably never heard of Westlife either. Brits don't know who Astro Boy is. Apparently, everything goes to Australia.
Well, here's the thing, though. Since the majority of these movies are being produced by American companies, it makes more sense to make movies about acts that were relevant here in American culture.
Right.
Since we're the largest sect of the box office.
And we're also mostly producing the movies that go to the box office as well.
Aren't New Kids on the Block and the Backstreet Boys still out touring together as a super group?
Yeah, it's not over yet. The story is far from over.
You likely
it could still end badly.
Whoever you are, you likely have a niece or a sister who posts an Instagram story from a New Kids on the Block concert.
But this is why you don't make a biopic about somebody before they die. Yep. Because it could always end badly.
Yeah. Then they got to make a revisionist version
Can't
of it.
do that.
Yep.
It's and they're doing this with Madonna as well,
she's
starring Julia Garner. She's producing it, writing it, crafting her own story, which seems like she has control issues. But, if you can have an Amy Winehouse biopic flop, any of them can.
Yeah, who would have gone
Even
to
the
see
Baz Luhrmann Elvis barely was in the black.
Yeah.
And that's remembered fondly far.
I guess the Amy Winehouse documentary would skew female for an audience?
You would think. And
do
maybe
biopics skew male or female? I would assume that documentaries skew male and biopics maybe skew female. I don't know.
Because they're more personal, I guess.
Is that sexist? I feel like that was sexist.
No, but that's true. I would guess that's true.
Men want the hard facts and women just want a fabricated bullshit story, Mary.
I didn't hear anything about the Whitney Houston one either.
Yeah.
That came out last year.
Came and went.
Didn't hear a peep about it.
To be fair, those movies aren't meant to they're not supposed to win at the box office. They're supposed to stay in the top 5 and then continue there for a period of time, usually over holiday breaks and stuff like that. Is there an international monkey day? There's an international everything day.
Okay.
They should have released it on International Monkey Day.
I also don't like looking at primates. This is a hot take of mine, I guess. I've received a lot of pushback for saying this, but I really don't like chimps.
Okay.
I really don't. Something about that uncanny valley quality to primates with human-like facial expressions, especially not just the real life chimps, but the CGI chimps are even worse in this regard. Watching the Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, the one that we reviewed last year, that was really uncomfortable. I just don't like looking at chimps that have whites in their eyes.
Okay.
They have scleras in these movies. Very disturbing.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm not a fan of chimps in general. I don't think they're cute.
That's why Mary needs to go see Dunstan Checks In.
Literally never going to happen.
Jason Alexander, Faye Dunaway, Eric Lloyd, Rupert Everett. That's a cast. Look at the things from the movie. Absolutely unhinged.
Yeah, that looks unhinged.
Childhood was awesome.
Okay.
Okay. You swing in and you miss sometimes. But to be fair, it came out in January, and everybody knows January and February tend to be going where studios know movies go to die. So they release them during January and February because they don't expect them to do well.
Right.
So, all right.
All right. Well, Florence Pugh, in a recent interview, told everyone that she is very unlikely to take a role in a movie like Midsommar ever again. And this was A24 Studios' 2019 folk horror movie about an American woman who goes on a vacation with her toxic boyfriend in a state of grief. They get lured into a violent sex cult, and chaos ensues. I've never watched it myself, so I don't know exactly what she's referring to here, but she claims that in order to prepare for and perform this role well, she had to abuse herself. This was in the Variety article, I believe.
Yep. She says, there have been some roles where I've given too much and I've been broken for a long time afterwards. Like when I did Midsommar, I definitely felt like I abused myself in the places I got myself to go.
Got myself to go. I guess she's saying the depths of her emotions that she was plumbing. She said the nature of figuring these things out is you need to go, well, I can't do that again because that was too much. But then I look at that performance and I'm really proud of what I did. I'm proud of what came out of me. I don't regret it, but there's definitely things that you have to respect about yourself. That's actually the antithesis of being an actor, is having self-respect, because it's not about you. It's about minimizing yourself and becoming someone else.
You have to disassociate from who you are and become someone entirely different.
Right.
And then you have to learn to kind of take the mask off, put it back on, take the mask off, put it back on. Probably why you've pointed out several times why acting can be so dangerous for children.
Yeah, especially if they're playing multiple different characters in a way that they're almost creating new personalities. She continued, I wouldn't say all of it was pleasurable, and it shouldn't be. Why would making a movie like that be pleasurable? She said in a different interview last year that she had never played anyone that was in that much pain until she played Danny in Midsommar. I would put myself in really shitty situations that maybe other actors don't need to do, but I would just be imagining the worst things. Each day, the content would be getting more weird and harder to do. I was putting things in my head that were getting worse and more bleak. I think by the end, I probably most definitely abused my own self in order to get that performance. And then she also said in a different interview that she felt like she was abandoning the character she played when she traveled away from set in Sweden, in rural Sweden, I assume. So she created this entirely fictional person in her head and then felt sympathy for it. That just sounds like a perfect explanation for why actors are so mentally unstable.
For the ones that choose to do roles like that put them in a particularly emotional spot. We did talk about, did we ever have the conversation about Ryan Gosling saying that he decided to get away from roles like that?
Yeah, this was just last year, back in May, that Ryan Gosling said he doesn't take on dark roles anymore out of consideration for his family and the state of mind that he has to give to his wife and children. He said in an interview with the Wall Street Journal, I don't really take roles that are going to put me in some kind of dark place. This moment is what I feel like trying to read the room at home and feel like what is going to be the best for all of us. The best decisions I make them with Eva Mendes, his wife, and we make them with our family in mind first.
Yeah.
So obviously the last role that we remember from him is Ken, and that was not going to put him in a dark place. I don't think there's anything traumatic about that. But when that headline came out, you said complimentary things about his decision, and yet when the Florence Pugh headline comes out that says almost the same exact thing, you don't take so well to it. I don't know. I can't imagine why.
I said there might be some inherent sexism there that I did not fully process, but I think more apt to say that what he decided regarding his family plays a part in it. She's not really referencing family here. Do whatever you have to for the benefit of your own mental health so that you can have a more lengthy career, I suppose. But I just, that might have been my own bias sneaking in there.
But Florence Pugh
fully
is
admit that.
Uniquely annoying and also less talented than Ryan Gosling, so she gets less leeway.
Yeah.
I think movies like Midsummer are evil. Personally,
okay. I'm aware that you're just not a fan of that type of art, right?
It makes total sense to me that Florence Pugh or any of the actors in a movie like Midsummer would walk away from it feeling like there was just this dark cloud over them. Like some dark spiritual energy was attached to them after they were in these movies. And I know the director, Ari Aster, was also responsible for Hereditary, another A24 horror movie that I deeply regret watching. And after I watched that movie, I felt this feeling like I was being watched. And I believe that I was. If you think I'm crazy for saying that, fine.
Do you mean like spiritually?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think that unbeknownst to a lot of viewers, movies like those, specifically directed by that one director, Ari Aster, but many others as well, these movies can be cursed.
Do you want to explain?
I think that either they are cursed in a more figurative sense, or I'm willing to entertain the idea that those movies are actually ritualistically cursed prior to release.
How does that happen? Is that through their own invoking, or is that something that happens by happenstance?
No, like intentionally, very deliberately cursed in a ritualistic manner by the people involved in making it. Yeah, I do believe that. For the purpose of spiritually damaging the people who watch it. And
so you think that it's of malicious intent from the people creating it?
Yes, in a completely malicious way. Even if you go to see the movie with completely innocent intentions, unbeknownst to you, you could be watching material that is cursed for your...
Damn it, I saw The Ring. This isn't
spiritual
good.
endangerment. Yeah. Yes, I genuinely believe that. I'm sure a bunch of people are just going to think that I'm crazy for saying that, but that's my take. And after I watched Hereditary, I just felt watched. And I don't think it was just a feeling. I think I was being watched.
Do you think it's because given that you're as active spiritually as you are, that perhaps you're more self-aware than other people who might enter into watching something like that without the ability to kind of see within themselves how it's making them feel or think?
I definitely wouldn't have made the decision to watch a movie like Hereditary today, but that was several years ago, and I didn't really know what I was getting into. I just heard from somebody that it was a good movie. And I don't have a problem with horror in general, just as a genre. There are horror movies I like and I'm willing to watch.
What's an example of a horror movie that you like?
I've mentioned this before, but like M. Night Shyamalan's Devil, that was a horror movie that stood out to me that I enjoyed, and I didn't feel like there was some kind of evil thing in it. Like,
that's interesting.
And yet it is still heavily focused on the spiritual side.
Yeah. So it really is like there was just something about that movie specifically that made you feel that energy. And
it feels inherently nihilistic, Ari Aster's movies. We have another 20. Kenneth Hart. Clarification, The Jerk, 1979, Steve Martin. The sniper randomly picks Martin to mess with. The classic scene is sniper attacking Martin, who thinks he's after the can's irritation from Mary over 10 things reminded me of that scene.
Okay. I'll have to watch
I don't think I've seen
I never
that.
saw it.
I don't think I've seen that movie.
Look, I mean, that's kind of one of the double-edged swords of art, is that it can take you to a really, really good place, or it can take you to a really, really bad place. And depending on, like, I still maintain that one of the hardest things in general, not speaking anything of possession or anything like that, but my movie reviews, the reason why I never even want to call them reviews, merely just me kind of bloviating about whatever we're talking about. I'm insulting myself there on purpose, because a lot of times it's like it's not that deep, but it's like the idea is that my mood can be heavily colored by how I feel that day.
Yeah.
So it's like I could watch a movie and once it's done, take something completely different away from it if I had seen it on a different day, you know, where I was in a different mood. So I tried to not even refer to what we do when we do, you know, post movie reviews. Like, I'm not going to review it because I don't want to give you a recommendation and then have you be like, that was the worst thing I've ever seen. It's like, well, I can only speak for myself.
Personally, I would always rather tell people not to go see something.
Well, I mean, it's less risky because when you tell somebody to go see something, you're asking them to spend their money on it. And that's, people will forgive you for a movie that you didn't like, but they did like. They will not forgive you for a movie you liked that they hated because they had to spend money on it to go see it or sail the high seas.
From now on, if you want to recommend something, just say, wait till it's on streaming on Tubi.
I mean, that's what I would say on everything. What was that recent one? Fubo?
Fubo.
It's a real thing. They did the meme. They did the meme. So, and by the way, I saw somebody earlier mention when talking about Florence Pugh, they mentioned Heath Ledger. That is actually a myth that he was like,
wait, what?
That he was a method actor and the Dark Knight damaged him.
Oh, that sounds like a folk tale.
Yes,
immediately right off the bat.
There have been multiple write-ups and videos done about that. He was always listed as being very professional and approachable.
But I mean, the write-ups about Jared Leto method acting to play the Joker, however,
that's just
were
try
entirely
hard.
true.
That's just try hard edginess.
Imagine mailing used condoms to Margot Robbie just to have 10 minutes of screen time in Suicide Squad.
Yeah, right. All that.
Hope it was worth it, bro.
All right, let's move on.
I am overjoyed to report to you that after 7 long years, Starbucks has decided to reverse its open door policy and finally kick out these vagrants from the streets that have been destroying their coffee shops.
Mary is so excited.
I mean, really, though, this has been an ongoing problem, especially in major cities, especially in places like LA, San Francisco. Thankfully, we don't have to live among those areas, but they've had far too many incidents happen already. And it's just time to stop this nonsense. They've decided once and for all that they want to prioritize the people who are paying to be there. So from this point forward, in order to hang out or use the bathroom at a Starbucks, shocker, you have to buy something first. Oh, the horror. Oh, the humanity. This is a travesty. I mean, this is a human rights violation.
Does this mean they're going to get rid of the Sharps containers for the diabetic needles?
Oh, yeah, and people who are injecting Ozempic in the Starbucks bathroom. So, as you can probably guess, there are already leftists who are mad about this decision in the comments. One of them said, "This is an absolute terrible and greedy decision to make. People used to go in there all the time to just study. Starbucks, you are already on thin ice. Way to put yourself on thinner."
I got a question. Isn't this what community centers are for?
Libraries.
Yeah, libraries.
I mean, it's interesting to think about.
Wait, to public
evolution.
libraries? I haven't been to a public library since I got out of rehab.
I mean, there are menaces at public libraries too.
But I'm saying, do they put like coffee shops in public libraries? Because that would be a great way to make revenue for the city.
That's true. I don't know.
Put a coffee shop in there.
You should be a civic planner.
Yeah, my dad was a civic planner.
It runs in the family.
It runs in the family.
Another one said, "We aren't buying Starbucks ever again after what they did to Palestine."
The test has determined that was a lie.
Like, come on, you're fat and you love frappuccinos. No one believes you. Another one said they don't pay baristas enough to make them pay attention and enforce this.
That's true.
That's very true.
That is true. They are right about that.
I don't want to be in their position when some homeless person comes in there and you're responsible for kicking them out. You don't know what these people are capable of.
There's a 20 there.
From Mari Pari, 98. Oh, is it? Oh, sorry, this is Mary. My name is Mary too, but Mary, I agree with you on some of these horror movies being made with the intent of spiritual attacks. There have been other movies that aren't horror that have a similar feel, but I avoid horror. Okay. I'm starting to avoid the entire genre as well, but I know that there are some that are just particularly standout awful. Another one said, "Most people buy something anyway, which is why I don't like this policy. I bet they won't use it on college kids or professionals. It'll just be a way for them to kick out those they feel are undesirable."
You could call them deplorables.
Undesirable.
You could call them deplorables.
You are correct. They will not be kicking out silent non-disruptive, well-behaved college students working on their homework or professionals taking business calls. They will be kicking out stinky, loud, alcoholic drug abusers that aren't buying any products and are kicking out by their very stench all of the normal people. Correct.
To the benefit of the boomers, a bunch of people are going to finally be able to afford houses because they're not going to be spending $8 on coffee every day.
Exactly. But this, I think, I hate to say it, I really do, but this is a sign of the death of woke.
Yeah.
I hate myself for saying it.
Like, did you cringe just saying it?
I just cringed at myself for saying it, but it's a sign of the death of woke, guys.
Like Mary said it in passing when we were prepping the show today, and I thought I was being punked.
No, but I realized, like, there's no getting around this. Like, this is kind of the sign of the death of woke, because the open door policy that Starbucks put into place was back in 2018, and we were still definitely in the times of peak woke at that point. And they put in this policy because of an incident that made Starbucks look very bad. 2 black men were arrested at a Starbucks in Philadelphia where they had gone, reportedly, they went for a business meeting. They did not purchase anything, but they went there to meet with each other on business grounds. The incident at that store, which had a policy of asking non-paying customers to leave, was caught on video, and it became a major embarrassment for the company.
Yep, I remember that.
So as a result, Starbucks panicked and decided they would just let everyone in and let it just be complete free-for-all, where there are people doing drugs in the bathroom. And at the time before COVID, they used to have a picture of half and half out on the counter. You'll notice that they don't anymore. There would be homeless people going in there asking for a cup and filling the cup with half and half and then leaving. Yeah. And that's just something that we should expect, because that's like what freedom means.
My guess is most of this will be applied unevenly, meaning the Starbucks in the cities will loosely apply this, and people will just keep hanging out.
They're the ones who need this policy the most.
And they're the ones who need it the most, right?
Yeah.
I laugh. It is one of those things where when this, I kind of have this vague feeling every time stories like this come up. It's like you can't get away from anything. Everything has been made political. Kind of like in the way where, like, what is like the bedrock of small talk is, look at this weather we're having, and even that's been politicized. Like when you can't get
climate change,
yeah,
right?
Well, you know what I'm saying, right? It's like no matter where you turn, you're forced to wonder whether the person you're going to talk to is a lunatic who wants to talk about something like that. But, if your coffee shop has also been politicized, and to Starbucks' credit, they haven't been the cleanest record lately, because they're mad at them about Palestine for no reason whatsoever. It didn't end up even being a story, but I still remember that video where I was watching, like, a dad made like a vlog where he brought his daughter to like camp out at Target to get like
a Stanley
Cup. And all the comments were like, we're boycotting Target and Starbucks, and then just Palestinian flags everywhere. And I was
watermelon emojis.
And I'm like, this guy's not thinking about that.
No.
This guy isn't thinking about wars in foreign countries. He's not thinking about social justice. To be fair, I also think it's kind of cringy that you're making that kind of content, but that's just me. That's just me personally. But, he's giving his daughter a moment that she's likely going to remember, hopefully sans the camera having to be part of it. But, the hope is that he made a memorable evening with his daughter, and that's good. That's great. But instead, it has to be about something that's going on half a world away, and that's stupid.
We have another 20 from Nate Parrott. Last one, I promise. Chuck Norris once used butter to cut a hot knife in half.
I believe it.
Love that for him.
We love Chuck Norris here on this channel.
Well, I mean, most of the reason why people are mad at this is because they believe that the homeless are some kind, or sorry, I should correct myself. The unhoused, rather those with housing insecurity are some kind of protected class that are almost demigods in society who we have to cater to at all times. And the truth is that most of the time, especially in these major cities where it's kind of incentivized to be homeless because you get a bunch of free shit from the government, this is a lifestyle choice for them. This is what they prefer. It's what they have chosen over usually drug recovery. And they are happily taking every possible advantage they can get from private businesses without supporting those businesses. They are taking every advantage they can get from the local government that is not going to hardworking people. And I think that finally that time is coming to a close. That time of performative empathy that is a hallmark of wokeness is finally coming to a close. And this is just a sign of that. And especially, you know, powerful people in the business world waking up to that changing tide.
What's weird is, like, to me, the performative element of it is the one that people hated the most, right? More than the ideas themselves, even, is the performative nature in which, oddly enough, both sides agreed on. But only one side got the benefit of it, which was that both sides understood that the corporations did so because it was beneficial for them, right? What they deemed rainbow capitalism, meaning that you do this stuff not because you actually believe it, because a company can't believe anything. Don't believe any of that crap about a corporate mission statement or corporate values. They don't have any values. Their job is to make money. And a normal person who understands how a business transaction works, they're fine with that. You know, you want something, they're offering something. The hope is that they have to create the best product possible, lest they be, you know, beaten out by somebody who offers it at a better price. But instead, you got performative crap that didn't really have anything to do with anything. We hated it for one reason. They hated it for another reason, yet somehow it lingered for like a decade.
It was almost a decade. I mean, it just sucks because this is why we can't have nice things. And I've seen a lot of people talking about this as of late. Starbucks in the mid-2010s up until the present day kind of turned into this brutalist looking postmodern hellscape.
All businesses are like that now.
And they all look like that. McDonald's did it too, but it's not just the exterior design of the building, but the interior. The furniture is downright unusable. You're going to walk out with like bruises from how hostile this architecture is. And it's no longer what you would call a third place, a place other than your home and your workplace that you can go to and just exist and possibly even socialize with other human beings. And they called this their third place policy, which I find so deeply ironic and infuriating because by welcoming the homeless street urchins into your coffee shops,
thank you,
you're making it impossible for ordinary people to use this as their third place. They're being pushed out. Thank you. But I guess I'm just a hateful bigot.
It is 110% true that a huge part of all businesses like that have gone extremely brutalist in their design, and there's no personality to any of it.
Yeah, it's like they don't have couches. There's no nice like calming jazz music playing. It's like not your I don't know, uncle's coffee shop. It's not like the kind of place you imagine would have.
Well,
like,
I mean, it's because they don't work in the chain structure.
Slam poets.
They don't work in the chain structure, right? So yeah, if you're in Uptown or in like a major city, you may have some successful, small, independently owned coffee shops that have that vibe, but on the larger scale,
maybe.
But on the larger scale, a corporation can't do that.
But think about, you know, the coffee shop that they go to in Friends. Or the coffee shop.
That was the first one I was thinking.
That they, like the opening scene from, what was it? I Think I Married an Axe Murderer.
Okay.
Like, these coffee shops had, like, real couches that you could sit on and they, like, moved when you sat down on them.
Yeah.
And they had, like, actual non-disposable cutlery.
Every teen drama in the 2000s had some place like that they went to.
It was always a third place, and we don't have those anymore because we have sacrificed them on the altar of wokeness. Wokeness is just ruining everything. No, but it is on its way out, and I'm not particularly optimistic about what's going to come to replace it.
Yeah,
I'm just noticing things. I'm just making observations here.
All right. Let's go. Moving on. What would you like to see? Cringe or cute of the day?
You decide.
All right. We'll do cute of the day first. No, we'll do cringe first. I don't know how bad this one was.
All right.
All right. Here. This one says ADHD or bipolar reveal cake.
It's like a gender reveal, but worse.
We were, I think I told you this story before the show. We were out doing some wedding planning stuff. And we saw at like a Party City. We've been going to the Party Cities because they're going out of business, so you can get some great deals right now.
Just, shout
70% off, 80% off. And they had like one of the gender reveal like things that you twist to like have it explode in whatever color. And it was like twist left for boy, twist right for girl. And we're like, oh, so that's how that works. All right, let's look at the ADHD or bipolar reveal cake. Here we go.
Hi, so this is my ADHD or bipolar reveal cake. I, for the past couple of months, have been doing psychology testing, and I finally got my results back. So we bought a cake to celebrate, to open the results. I can't eat it because I'm gluten-free, but... Alright, so if it's pink, I'm bipolar, but if it's yellow, I have ADHD.
Theoretically, if it was ADHD, she'd start doing something else and forget to cut the cake.
What are we thinking?
What were the colors? Pink and yellow?
Pink means bipolar. Yellow, I think, means
What
ADHD.
happens when you mush those colors together? Because that's what the color will likely be.
I don't know.
That's what it should be.
Both?
Okay.
Is it both? Might have mixed those up. She's cutting the cake in the most unhinged way.
She's like, I don't want it touching my hand.
It's yellow! ADHD! Hey guys!
Welcome to a lifetime of Adderall and depression.
Isn't that exciting?
You know what? I'll give her points for having being completely authentic because it wasn't overproduced with like a big hammy, like I make videos on my phone all the time. It was like, this is my first time trying to record a video vibes.
Okay.
I'll applaud her mental illness in that respect.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
All right.
Points.
Let's do cute of the day. Here we go, guys. This one's from Gold Digger Comic Universe. It says, when I got home from work, Callie met me as I opened my truck door. With no hesitation, she jumped up through the open door and climbed into the passenger seat.
Aww. She
was
wants to
amazing.
go along for the ride.
That is very cute. That is a cute kitty.
I've never seen a cat behave in a car like this. This is unearthly.
When we moved everything from Michigan, the cats, Mocha and Chloe. So Mocha just slept the whole time, just completely still. Chloe,
That's
who's
amazing.
normally, Chloe is the one that's very, very independent and standoffish most of the time, is suddenly a big baby and needs Olivia to like hold her like half the car
That's
ride.
cute.
All 10 hours. It's like, oh, so you're Mrs. Independent 364 days out of the year, but suddenly you get into a car for 10 hours and all of a sudden you need all this love and affection.
She does, in fact, get to pick and choose.
She also does so when
She gets
she
to
wants,
have her cake and eat it, too.
she does so when she wants food as well.
Yeah.
When she's hungry, suddenly she's Mrs. Affectionate as well. So, all right, let's go ahead and let's move on.
All right. Carrie Underwood is currently receiving some vicious backlash online for her decision to perform as one of the musicians at Trump's inauguration. And I'm really excited to see this because I listen to her music. She's an amazing singer. She's going to be performing America the Beautiful, and she gave a statement about why she is doing this. She told the Post, I love our country and am honored to have been asked to sing at the inauguration and be a small part of this historic event. I'm humbled to answer the call at a time when we must all come together in the spirit of unity and looking to the future. I can't think of anything that should be less controversial than that. But now people are acting like they're surprised that Carrie Underwood happens to lean Republican.
I mean, maybe she doesn't. Maybe she just doesn't care about politics. I don't know.
You know, I get that, and people like that do exist, but we live in such a polarized time still.
It's hard
that
to
I
buy
have
that
to-
they don't have
Yeah.
at least a little bit of an inkling. Otherwise, they would just say no and stay out of it entirely.
I must assume that Carrie Underwood did vote for Trump because of this move, and she's also, openly religious, and I was just watching a music video that she did for her song See You Again, and it's literally showing clips of kids hugging their dads when they come home from deployment and people getting baptized. And then it's just like American flags everywhere while she's belting. And I'm just like, yeah, if you can watch this and not shed a tear, you do not get to be a citizen of this country. Also, this is definitely going on the citizenship test when I become dictator.
You know, you look at pictures of her. I don't use the term conservative coded very often, but you know.
Do you have one in particular that you just saw and you were like, oh yeah, she's a Trump girl?
Like, no, you look at her and you're just like, I imagine that when you come off of the, you know, the Fox clone lot where they clone all of their hosts, they kind of use her as a benchmark.
She might have been in the same petri dish as Kayleigh McEnany.
Yeah, they're kind of all cloned from the same
Well, for
place.
anyone who might be unfamiliar, would you mind showing us what you mean?
I'm trying to find a suitable image that would have. It was the one that I saw yesterday where I was just like, you've got to be kidding me. Am I supposed to believe that this is not?
And for those listening, she is just a beautiful blonde, tan, white lady who, you know, plays country music, and that's what she's been known for years. She luckily never strayed from that path and went into any other genres. I love that she has always just stayed in her lane. She's very unproblematic up until now.
She's joining American Idol, probably because it has American in the name. That would be my guess.
I'm just saying
that was old. That was from August.
She's a blonde country singing white woman. You should not be surprised that perhaps she is a Republican.
She would try that in a small town.
She would totally try that in a small town. Or was that even the way the song went?
No, that was... she would have been the person who says, don't try that in a small town. Yes, you get the point.
You get the point.
Don't have to explain it.
So here were some of the responses to the announcement of her performance. One said, I can now smile because I have a reason to hate her. Another one said, this is my 9/11. Carrie Underwood singing at Trump's inauguration is your 9/11.
I mean, actually, that's an interesting discussion to have, to think of, like, if you can be that politically polarized to the point where your favorite singer, like singing for for a president that you hate, is like the end of the world for you, but not being smart enough to look at all in which she entails with her music, her style, and not put two and two together that it's possible, even just a little bit, that she might not think of the world. Actually, I kind of envy that. Like, where you can just be like not thinking about it. Like, wow, I'm just going to listen to this amazing country artist who's putting American flags everywhere and showing people coming back from deployment and baptisms, and just assume that they're what? Like a default liberal, I guess.
I don't even think any of these people who claim they used to like her ever did like her. And I will say I'm just so tired of the trend of hating country music just for the sake of it. I'm not the biggest. No, it's totally a thing still. And at least among, you know, millennial urbanites who think they're above their hometown, it's totally still a trend to hate on country music just for the sake of it. Like, oh, that's coworker music, or that's like hillbilly music, or whatever. They just apply any label to say, like, I'm just like really artsy and deep, and like I just don't like country music, as if there's never been like deep country music, which is insane. I'm not even like the biggest country music fan, definitely not even close. But I don't like the performative, like, superior attitude that people have about it.
There was
and the people who like it.
There was like a scene in like an old episode of Bones where like they're investigating the death of a country singer, and they just have John Francis Daley just say, "I normally hate country music, but this song's actually pretty good." It was like some writer was a millennial who had to get that dig in there at them.
Here is another response from the Lincoln Project.
Oh, well, that's a trustworthy source.
They say, gonna be awkward when she performs before he cheats. Get it? Because he had sex with Stormy Daniels or whatever. And another one said, maybe that's why he effing cheated, referring to her song. Here are some more on her Instagram. Have been a fan of yours from the beginning, but just heard you'll be singing at Trump's inauguration. Just lost all respect for you. How can you support someone so hateful? I'm sad to hear this news. Another one said, heartbroken. Always loved you, but I won't support your actions.
Of course.
Like as if she just killed someone?
Yeah.
What, where do you get the audacity? And then I also saw people pointing out that in a far less polarized time, Hillary Duff performed at the second inauguration of George Bush.
Yep.
I never even knew that, but nobody brings it up because it was just a different time. And similarly, back in, it must have been around 2004, Britney Spears said, yeah, like, Bush is like our president, so we should like
support him.
Yeah, like support America. And like celebrities as big as Britney Spears back then had the liberty to say things like that.
Well, it's because they didn't actually look into any of it, and the internet didn't make it. Like the point was like back before the internet on your phone,
right?
You were kind of allowed to just either not have an opinion about something or be what somebody else thinks of as ignorant about something because you weren't expected to know everything. And
you definitely couldn't have pulled out a phone and given Carrie Underwood a piece of your mind if she did something to piss you off. My mom, like my dad was a classic rock guy. My mom was a huge country fan, so I grew up with both genres. Carrie Underwood?
We're talking about 2 decades before then, but
no, okay.
Way before then.
Well, Carrie Underwood has been a big deal
Martina
for a long
McBride
time.
would have been a big artist that my mom listened to. Judd's, stuff like that, which would have been probably inspirations of hers, decades previous.
But you guys aren't from the South.
No.
Just random.
Country music you don't have to be there are country music stations all around the country.
But like living in Maryland, growing up in Maryland, there wasn't that. There wasn't a country music station.
She also liked Jewel. And
I didn't know people who listened to country until I moved to North Carolina. So it really is kind of a localized thing.
Thank you. Yeah, guys. Reba McEntire, also big.
Yeah.
But okay, so it's not just that though. It's not just her. It's the Village People. So I actually made like a solo video like a month or two ago when the head writer, the head of the band basically said, yeah, I didn't want him to use it initially. Now I'm okay with it because he was making money off of it, because he had gotten the rights to use the song. He had gotten the licensing for it. And there's actually, if you guys don't know, there's actually a Wikipedia page just designated for all of the artists who have told Trump no for their music rights.
And it's how many artists
it's
long?
A lot. It's like there's probably
Are we in the triple digits at this point?
Probably pretty close.
What's your body count?
Like that's what they'll do in the future, like to presidents, like how many bands have turned you down? Yeah.
Well, it's bragging rights for something, I guess.
The Village People are going to perform live at Turning Point's inaugural Eve Ball. So they're going to a Turning Point event?
Okay. I guess that Charlie Kirk was responsible for this.
Must have been. I like this headline though from this is why TMZ is still the funniest out of all of them. Village People, Trump is our macho man.
Got a gig for inauguration.
They're going to be dancing to one of his favorites as he celebrates his inauguration because the Village People are booked for one of his events. Yep, that's
incredible.
That is amazing. So
gotta say, Carrie Underwood is better.
There you go.
By a long shot. And she's going to do a great job.
And given how mainstream she is, that's a big deal. That's, again, another, maybe even more than Starbucks kicking out the homeless people. It's a sign of the changing of the culture.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's read some super chats. Shane H. Wilder said, I watched while away, just not live. Also, you know better than to tell me not to meme something. I never listen. I'm ungovernable. So are we. We understand. Jewish AF of Christendom said, I have a meeting/interview for a dream job this afternoon. Wish me luck. I've been praying and doing everything I can to make a good impression.
Congratulations on the interview, man, and good luck.
Congrats. I'll be praying for you. Shane H. Wilder said, Pharrell Williams as Legos, then Robbie Williams as a chimp. What's next? A Brett biopic with Weeble Wobbles and a Mary one with Bratz dolls?
Would you rather have a Bratz doll or a Barbie doll?
For me,
Yeah.
personally, I mean, it wouldn't make much sense
Or
because the Barbie doll is so tall.
Or a movie of Mary, but it's a Webkinz.
I
screen.
would choose a biopic done with American Girl dolls.
That makes way more sense.
Stop motion and American Girl dolls, definitely. Tacty Platty said, Mary, I heard of Robbie Williams when I was your age. Well, I don't know how long ago that was, but I haven't seen any Americans voicing the same take. Corey Anderson said, Shane, Brett has to be a show me where they touched you doll. Not sure I like that idea. Maybe troll dolls.
There. Oh, yes. There we go.
What color would your hair be?
Purple.
Okay, perfect. Russ of the Frozen North said the only way I know this guy is from the clip of him hitting on a 13-year-old at his concert. It's pretty hilarious and not inappropriate. Sorry.
I'm guessing that's sarcasm at the end there. If he's hitting on.
Yeah, that sounds not funny and inappropriate.
Yes, it does. All right.
So
let's hold off on the rest.
I guess Robbie Williams is like a bad dude.
Yeah.
I don't know. Never heard about that.
All right.
Okay, not too long ago, we were talking about Lily Phillips, an OnlyFans star that made headlines for sleeping with over 100 men within the span of 14 hours as a stunt to promote her OnlyFans. And afterwards, as you could see in a follow-up documentary, she was in tears. It was not a pretty sight, and it seemed to do quite the number on her psychologically. Nonetheless, she pledged to up the ante and hook up with over 1,000 men within 24 hours next as her 2025 goal. And I guess, the OnlyFans world is quite the competitive industry because
stiff competition.
Someone beat her to it. A woman named Bonnie Blue, I doubt that's her real name, actually beat Lily Phillips to break this disgusting record and ended up sleeping with, at least she claims, she slept with 1,057 men within 12 hours, setting a world record, beating out adult film actress Lisa Sparks, who also slept with 919 men in 24 hours back in 2004.
Well, she obliterated that record, given the time period difference here.
Yeah, I mean, you would have thought that she would just stop at 1,000 because that's just a nice, clean number, but no.
I was like, not even
just
1,000.
for good measure.
Not even 1,060. Not even like finish off.
Just on an even number, but no, just for good measure, she made sure it was well over 1,000. And I tried to do the math. That's 12 hours. It couldn't have been more than 30 seconds per client, I guess I would call them. But yeah, here she is in this new clip talking about the experience. She highly recommends it.
This looks like after taking 1,000 men less than 12 hours ago. I told you girls taking fluids for moisturizer was good for your skin. The big 1,000 was completely done. So it started off, I'll give you a bit of an overview. After to start with, it was just like the room was absolutely full.
With all of the cuts for, I'm assuming, swearing or I can't even understand what she's saying anyways because she's British. So.
Then we did groups of 5, like one after the other of 5s. I wanted to give people more time, so then it went down to like one-on-ones, didn't it? So like one person would watch whilst I was with somebody, and then it would literally just be like a rotating circle like that.
She has a future in project management. She does.
For some reason, she does come off as less pathetic and helpless than Lily Phillips.
More professional. She
comes off as not more professional. What she comes off as is she seems more soulless and dissociated.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like she's just like your average CEO who has to like disassociate from his employees lest he have to fire a bunch of people because it's for the good of the company. She's like, look, I've got a record to set and my well-being doesn't factor into it.
She definitely comes off as far more soulless than Lily Phillips and more dissociated from her emotions.
Brick Suit Guy has done the math, says it comes out to 41 seconds per person.
But even that, you have to account for breaks, and you have to account for just the time it takes to shuffle people in and out of the room.
She could definitely
it's less.
work for like a logistics company. You know, that's the hard part of like the trucking industry, right? It's time management skills.
We have another 20 from Just 'Cause I'm Free. Can the gangs exchange Bonnie Blue with all the underage girls? Save the girls. Still absolutely disgusting. Why even show what this tool says?
Are you talking about us?
Us?
Why are we showing it?
Well, why do we talk about anything? Yeah. It is a matter of public interest, and I believe that as OnlyFans is this new frontier of pornography, it should actually be talked about. Mm-hmm. And I don't mean to trivialize the whole thing, if that's what you think we're doing. I actually, you know, I will just say before we move on, she is definitely lying about her age. This woman claims to be 25 years old. I don't believe that for a freaking second.
You don't think it's just a result of a lot of plastic surgery?
If you look at her, I initially thought that this woman was like a good looking 40.
Okay.
There is no freaking way that this woman was 25. The woman in this video is 25. There's no way. I think she is totally lying for marketing purposes or what have you. But, you know, I don't know. After all, like, some of these women look pretty rough, especially when they're living on the edge, as she is.
Hard living.
She said that she wanted to...
the real question is, Mary, did she get an Airbnb that she will then get in trouble for renting because she used an Airbnb to sleep with 1,000 dudes? That's what happened with Lily.
Well,
Phillips,
it's crazy how this just happened with no fanfare, no press,
I said she's a professional. She's
no
like,
promotion.
She's like, I don't need anybody to hype me up. I'm my own hype man.
There was no hype in advance. She just announced that she did it. But yeah, she bragged about all of the barely legal teenagers and husbands.
That is the most
who helped
disturbing
her
part about
accomplish this goal.
If you guys don't remember, there was a clip that went viral like a week and a half ago, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, where a young man at a Five Guys was working, and he was propositioned by a woman, and he says to her, he's like, "Look, I'm a Christian," and he was being filmed surreptitiously from the other side of the restaurant.
Right. So
of course she was being filmed at a Five Guys.
She has a track record for doing these kinds of things in public. She is actually a pervert, and she was seen in this video. She's seen in this video basically sexually harassing someone who's at their job.
I can't see it on the menu, but where do I get the Five Guys from? The Five Guys. I didn't know if it was like a special room or you can take me out back.
No, I don't think that's happening.
What about after your shift? I mean, I'd want to give you, a good rating.
I'm a Christian man and I'm saving myself to marriage.
I'm asking for what's on the menu, that's all.
Genuinely, I feel like I'm doing it right now. I can hand you a menu if you want.
Are you on it?
No, I'm not.
Oh, that's a shame. I just wonder.
Like, obviously, she completely humiliated herself by doing this, but it's also just something that you should be prosecuted for doing. This person literally has no choice but to interact with you, and you're using them for internet content, but also, even if no one were filming, you would still be guilty of sexually harassing somebody who you don't even know. This guy's like wearing a mask. You don't even know if he's like an adult.
Yeah.
You have no idea who this person is. It's disgusting. The whole thing is disgusting. She did openly admit that married men and, as she called it, barely legal teenagers helped her accomplish this goal of sleeping with over 1,000 men. Other details, she actually was previously married back in 2022, and somehow that didn't work out. I don't know what happened there. She also says that her own parents, who were initially not supportive of her OnlyFans career because they're from an older generation, now do support
a less
her.
evolved generation, I'm sure she'd say, right?
Now they support her. It seems like a similar situation happened with Lily Phillips, whose own mother is her finance manager, whatever that means. And her mother, who I'm talking about now, is Bonnie Blue. Bonnie Blue's mother actually booked a lot of the men who participated in this disgusting, chemical experiment. That's all I can call it. It's radioactive in there.
Why? Okay, I know that this is a weird. Why is it filmed in the front-facing camera? Because the image is flipped. Like, it feels like that's even more noticeable. Like, there's just a phone sitting up, on the front of the thing in the
what,
whole
you think
face
it's staged?
I
don't think it's staged. I think obviously she's doing this for real.
It would have been more. It would have been more overt if it was staged, but you know.
On another occasion, Bonnie Blue explained that she actually is doing this as a philanthropist because she believes that by hooking up with teenagers, she's offering them sex education. Let's show that clip where she's explaining herself and her reasoning.
All right, here we go.
Relationship before, you get used to how to pleasure that one person and what they, enjoy, as opposed to how to pleasure different people and reach their different needs.
So you started OnlyFans.
Yes.
And it was just normal, just a few interactions here and there. Mm-hmm. So where does that go from a couple of interactions to, I'm going to sleep with 158 men or however many it was in a few weeks?
So it started off, obviously I realised I was posting these videos pretending I'm having an amazing time, and that's false. And it was fake, and it was fake storylines. I'd, be dressed up, or they was pre-scripted. And also you discuss consent, what you enjoy, what you don't enjoy, all off camera. And if you're switching positions, that's all edited out. So I was like, I'm posting these videos and it's not either relatable and it's also in a way fake, because that is not how it happened, on the day. So it's like, I want my content to be more relatable and realistic to people, and also educational.
So that's why so when was your first decision to have so many people at such a short space of time?
So I started going to events like Freshers, Spring Break, and there's one in Australia called Schoolies, which is a high volume of sort of 18-year-old people in, I guess, a small time frame. So I was like, if I could go and sleep with as many people as I could, not only do I educate those I sleep with, but also I get a video that can educate the wider audience. And obviously I can monetize off that. I
see, but when you say educate, what do you mean? Or what are you teaching people?
School. You learn about sex education at school, but it tends to be from like a middle-aged teacher who just talks about STDs and says if you have unprotected sex, you're going to get pregnant. And then it goes to people learning online from adult sites.
So this is like what? This is like the advanced course as opposed to like Sex Ed 101?
Field research.
Could be anything from a schoolgirl dressed up, which keeps, playing the innocent game, saying, no, I don't want it. It then leads to them bent over the table and it goes into sort of like a rough scene. So that can be very misleading. And like, what do people learn from that? Like, I'm not saying those scenes are wrong, but there needs to be something that bridges the gap from sex education at school to these videos online, which can blur the line of consent. So I was like, I want to make content that people can watch, can relate to it, but also can learn. So it's when I sleep with students, or barely legal, as I've said and the media have said, it shows me discussing consent with them. It shows me saying to them, this is what I enjoy, this is what I don't enjoy. And it also gives them an opportunity to tell me what they like. And sort of, I guess, use me as a guinea pig. Trial what you like and what you want to do. So when you go to the next person, you know exactly how to pleasure them and, how to receive pleasure as well.
Okay.
She encourages barely legal teens to use her as a guinea pig to teach them about sex. And this is her activist work in the world. She's truly doing her best to make the world a better place, more educated place.
The woman's desire to be an activist is pathological. Doesn't matter what line of work you're in.
I'll just add, I feel I repeat myself when these topics come up, but these responses that you tend to see to these OnlyFans type stunts, they're usually saying, why are you hating? Like, why are you judging? People are just doing what makes them happy, and she's making so much money. So, I mean, why are you even commenting on this? And I will just reiterate, that is a farce. And even if this kind of quote unquote work makes someone like Bonnie Blue feel happy, her happiness doesn't matter, and she should be stopped from doing what makes her happy. because she's actively coarsening the culture and actually preying upon real children. So let's just put a stop to that.
Young adults,
right?
She's not saying like none of these people were underage, right? They were all over the age of 18, but just the whole point is like what, 18 to 20.
Ask their parents, okay? Ask their parents what they think. We have another 20. Just because I'm free said, I bet a sewage plant smells better than Bonnie. Probably also less diseased and disgusting. Yeah, it's also strange that she has such a close resemblance to Lily Phillips. I mentioned this off air.
It's almost an archetype.
Like there's something, there's some kind of through line between all of these people. They start to all blend together. They're like a hive mind, and they all say the same things. The thing is, she's going on this news program to explain herself in this very articulate way and wear a sheath dress and look like a businesswoman. And that's why we're supposed to lend credence to anything she's saying. But the funny thing is that she knows that she sounds ridiculous. She knows that, I mean, she clearly knows that everything she's saying is just laugh out loud.
You don't think that she's bought into what she's saying?
No, I mean, I really don't think that she's sitting there talking about sex education and expecting people to really take it seriously. It's all a massive joke. And if it were a serious thing, would she be using porn terms to refer to the people that she's educating? No, it's all a big joke. And in fact, you are the butt of the joke if you fall for it.
The end of the movie, The Girl Next Door, which is a fantastic movie and everyone should watch it, with Alicia Cuthbert. It's the kid is he falls in love with a woman who left the porn industry and moves across the street from him. And at the end of the movie, they end up shooting a sex education video, and then it's promoted and produced through a porn mogul, and then he becomes like a millionaire. I'm highly underselling, but that's actually the plot of the movie. Is they end up selling a sex education video that's supposed to. The idea is like it's not like your traditional, high school sex education video. It's with actual porn stars. Therefore, that was like, and then he becomes rich. So.
I will also add that sex education was conceived and placed into the public school system curriculum to indoctrinate children and make them more suggestible to liberal, licentious sexual values. And it actually defeated the purpose for which it was created. Okay, let's read some super chats. Corey Anderson said, update on the red battle pandas. Pics, please. Weird, we haven't heard anything about the red battle pandas in a while.
It has been a long time since we got a red battle panda update.
We're waiting for that. Painful said, Walk the Line and Bohemian Rhapsody got Oscar nods. In Robbie's defense, he was an enormous star in the UK, outselling NSYNC, etc. Well, I don't know. The UK is a very small place, and maybe they should have hedged their bets. Brian Bledsoe said, I've heard of Robbie Williams, but not since his rock DJ back in 2000. Have Mary watch that weird music video. Perhaps. Well, we wouldn't be able to on air anyway because of copyright concerns. But
Corey Anderson.
We're watching you right now, Mary. # Jesus loves you. Well, I know you're watching me. I'm not creeped out by you watching me.
Let's do 2 more.
Shane H. Wilder said, Mary ain't wrong. There is something inherently wrong with Hereditary and Midsommar. I enjoy horror movies, but there is something off about those two.
I wonder if that is, strictly speaking, something that would be more in tune with those of faith would catch on to that the average person just wouldn't.
I think it could definitely still resonate the same way with someone who doesn't profess the Christian faith.
Like a secular person could watch it and still feel like there's something off, they just can't quite put a finger on it?
Yeah, definitely. And there are more movies that are like that than just Hereditary and Midsommar, but those are the ones that come to mind for me. Yeah. Surinko Productions said, I did not like Hereditary, but I thought Midsommar was a great horror movie because it was unique in it being mostly during the day, but they demonic.
There's at least an interesting premise around that type of movie being done in the daylight. right?
With the flowers and everything being like so warm.
Like one of my favorite things in Scream 2 when Randy gets killed, spoiler alert, 25 years later, less than 20 years later, it happens during the day in an open area of like a college campus, and that was like my favorite part of it, is like even when you're outside, and because I was always like, you know, whenever like somebody's like chasing them, I'm like, go like to the most populated area you can find and just be around a bunch of people. But he's in like an entire open courtyard of a college campus and gets yanked and pulled into a news van and then murdered, and that was my favorite part of that. It's like, that's kind of scary that it happened in the middle of the day.
That's weirdly relevant to what we're about to talk about. An innocent 22-year-old man, an active duty service member no less, was recently targeted, mobbed, and beaten up by a gang of teenagers in Massachusetts on a college campus for trying to meet up with an 18-year-old girl through the Tinder app. An 18-year-old girl, mind you. I would just like to repeat, he was not under the impression that he was going to meet up with a minor. This was a plot that was ensnaring him to get beaten up for meeting up with an 18-year-old girl only 3 to 4 years younger than himself. Yeah. This man is the age of a college graduate. So the story went massively viral. It's absolutely insane. They say that these teenagers on this college campus were inspired by a TikTok trend to recreate To Catch a Predator, except not by calling the police on an actual predator, but merely luring a random innocent person to beat them up and run them out of town. Like, actually chase them in a pitchfork-wielding mob of 25 to 30 people. Yep. I don't even know how this many people got wrapped up in this whole thing. It's actually mind-boggling, but the story is insane. This says 6 college students in Massachusetts were accused of luring an active duty service member whom they falsely described as a sexual predator to their campus. A group of more than 24 people chased and assaulted him, say authorities. One of the students who was charged told police that the plot was modeled on To Catch a Predator with Chris Hansen, the only one to ever do it, the GOAT. He did it the right way. He never beat anybody up. He actually got people arrested for what they were doing and had proof of what they were doing and planning to do. This involved no decoys, no printed out messages that were incriminating, nothing. This man matched with an 18-year-old on Tinder, thought that he was going out with this girl,
her profile
and then was
said
met.
That she was 18, and all the chat logs indicate that she said that she was 18.
Yes. And then he instead was met with an angry mob of 18-year-old boys, angrily chasing him and trying to beat his ass. The one interviewee, Easton Randall, a 19-year-old, said Catch a Predator is a big thing on TikTok currently. So
it's like Alex Rosen.
They just thought, I mean, even Alex Rosen, he does it in a more systematic way that's like responsible and actually gets authorities involved.
But like Vitaly, and like there's a lot of them that have their own versions of this.
But it's the guerrilla predator catchers that are really turning things upside down here. People like Vitaly. Thank you. They also mentioned this is not a one-time isolated incident. There was a group of 11 Illinois teenagers who were charged just last month for a similar incident in which they ensnared 2 grown men in the same situation with no proof that they were planning to meet up with minors.
Okay, is there also no proof in that case as well?
If there is, it's not mentioned in the story. So yeah, 11 Illinois teenagers were charged with felony crimes for using dating apps to lure and beat men meeting up with women who are allegedly at least of age. So in a statement at the time, the city's police department did not provide additional details, but the police chief said to parents, Take these incidents as an opportunity to talk to your teenage children about the seriousness of actively participating in these types of trends they see on social media. But at Assumption University in Worcester, where 6 people were charged in the plot were students, there was absolutely no evidence that the man students accused of being a predator had been seeking sex with a minor, says the police statement. He was chased by what the statement describes as a mob of 25 to 30 people, and he was ensnared in their conspiracy carried out by a group of 6 that includes allegations of systemic mistreatment, false imprisonment, physical assault and battery, and potential character assassination. The statement identifies one of the students as a juvenile, but the other 5, including Easton Randall, 19 years old, were charged with kidnapping and conspiracy. 2 other students were accused of additional crimes, including Kelsey Brainerd, who is 18, and charged with intimidation, and Kevin Carroll, 18, charged with assault and battery. Here's how it all seems to have come about to me, reading through this story. So this girl, Kelsey Brainerd, was on Tinder. She was on Tinder with a profile, her real age, 18 years old, and she matched with this innocent guy, this 22-year-old. She told her friend, Easton, that she had matched with this guy, and I presume, just by my knowledge of interpersonal dynamics between stupid teenagers, that it was Easton's genius idea to start messaging this guy on her behalf, luring him to a meetup location, and there was never any message exchanged that even suggested for a second that Kelsey was under the age of 18. But he just was kind of jealous of the guy that she matched with on Tinder. Easton thought he was going to have an in with Kelsey.
He's like, I'm going to beat this guy up and
He's
she's going to
beat him
fall
up
into my arms.
Exactly. And you know I'm right. You know this is how a teenage boy would probably be thinking in this situation.
What's weird is like the impulse to do this, especially given that it's connected to social media, it preys on some of the best aspects of being a guy, which is to protect those more vulnerable than you, and also the righteous anger that you can feel when you take care of something like this, if it's an actual situation, right? So a lot of bad things can be done when you feel that you're morally justified in doing so.
Yeah.
But you gotta do your due diligence if you're gonna do that, right? Like, it's
knowing that there were 25 to 30
and none
students
of them
involved
knew or cared, because that's not how mobs work.
The game of telephone must have been crazy. Like, they must have thought that this guy was just like a scumbag, and the game of telephone told them that he was trying to meet up with like a 9-year-old or something. I mean, for all they knew. And I also concluded I might be analyzing this a little too hard, but my read on it is that all of these college students who are presumably freshmen in 2024, well, now 2025, they went to Zoom school for like a whole year, and they were locked in their rooms scrolling TikTok, having no social lives. It didn't recover much after that. So they're still mentally stunted from that. They don't have active social lives. They don't drink. And this was like probably the most exhilarating human moment they have ever experienced in their entire lives up until this point. And that's really sad, but it's true. You know it's true. Like, I don't even think they were particularly invested in the story. They were just like, yeah, like everyone is doing something together and we're all yelling and we all have adrenaline right now, and like this is exciting, because they've never been to like a party. They've like never like danced because they're afraid of people recording them.
Go to a kegger, less people will get hurt.
But they were seen screaming and high-fiving each other while chasing this guy like psychopaths.
Righteous anger. Their perceived righteous anger.
In a statement, their university president said that this behavior is abhorrent and antithetical to Assumption University's mission and values. In all circumstances, we expect our students to exercise sound judgment and uphold the principles of respect, responsibility, and character that define our community. This situation is particularly sobering because the victim is an active duty military service member. His service reminds us of the sacrifices made by those who defend our freedoms, including the opportunity to pursue an education. They're doing their due diligence, according to the victim's father, and these kids seem to have hung themselves with their own words. It's true. They are questioning the perpetrators of this act. And even Kelsey Brainerd herself, the 18-year-old in question who was on the Tinder profile, could not come up with an explanation for how anyone would have had the idea that she was 17.
Yeah, it says a review of Tinder messages showed the service member believed he was meeting an 18-year-old. The statement says the woman's profile indicated she was 18. When officers followed up with Brainerd about where the information about the underage girl came from, the statement adds, quote, she could not answer.
Mm-hmm. It was just missed. It was just like lost in translation somehow. Word got out. There, maybe there's a Telegram group chat, several.
Dude definitely thought he was gonna get the girl at the end of this.
Yeah, not even a viral TikTok came out of this. I didn't see any video evidence. Apparently people were recording it, but then they didn't want to incriminate themselves by posting it. Yep. I hope they're smarter than that. Another sad detail that they added here is that the victim was only in town at the time for his grandmother's funeral, and he said that he just wanted to be around people that were happy.
I mean, I don't
it's
know
like an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Yeah. like he's getting chased by literally 30 sweaty teenage boys. And it's just like I feel bad for him, but this is like the insanity of the world we live in today, where I mean, now people are gonna see this headline and they're gonna be like, well, this is why I don't talk to women, because I'm gonna end up getting mobbed by 30 strangers.
I saw a couple in the chat already say that, so
I'm sure that some people do think that, but I guess, you know,
the question is, how bad do you think your luck is, right? Are you the one who's like,
it can't be any worse than this?
It couldn't be me.
No. But I mean, that would apply more to, I guess, meeting up with someone that you've never met before from a dating app has its own concerns.
Don't I've never used Tinder. Does it require, like, you have to be 18 to use it, right? So if he was supposed to believe that she was 17, she would have had to explicitly told him, because it's not like the profile would have ever indicated that age. She would have had to have been like, oh, don't worry, I'm not that age. And then he'd be like, oh yeah, that's great. But that's creepy. Like, that's creepy.
But that never happened. No. The police read the chat logs. There was never even a suggestion.
And I'm telling
that
you right
was
now,
the case.
I'm telling you right now, like, by the time the plan evolved, she's probably like, she just thought 18, 17, it's all the same, and didn't actually think about the legality of what
I just like
doing.
Seeing Easton getting all riled up like this.
No, that was his moment.
I'm sure that was his moment.
He should have just made his move then.
When he hatched the plan.
Mm-hmm. She's like, he's a real take charge kind of guy.
Gosh, they're so stupid. Like, I told you before, there's just some screws loose in people born after like 2004. Like, there's just something wrong with them. They're barely even human. They definitely can't be trusted to be sent off to college and hatch.
Take their phones away.
Insane plans like this.
They're gonna have to move the Tinder age up to 25.
Yeah.
You can use Tinder when you can rent a car yourself.
So he showed up to the campus alumni hall to meet up with this girl. He had been inside the building for a few minutes.
What does I wanted to be around people that are happy mean though? Like I don't know.
Here's the funny thing is, the victim of this story was just trying to get laid.
All he has to be is like, look, I thought I was gonna.
The perpetrator, this Easton kid, was also just trying to get laid.
Everything.
And there's just things. Unstoppable force meets immovable object.
Civilizations have been built and destroyed on the desire for men to have sex. That is just a fact. And in this case, bad things happen when it curves off and goes awry.
So a group of people reportedly came out of nowhere and started calling him a pedophile. He was unable to leave due to being grabbed and held back.
I literally am just picturing Larry David.
I know, right? The subject...
Like, his head goes, he's like...
I'm not saying like the guy doesn't deserve sympathy. It's just so absurd. Yeah. The subject reported that he was unable to break free and he ran up the stairs being chased by 25 or more people. He then was chased to his car, punched in the head, had his car door slammed on him. After he fled, he dialed the police. The security video of the campus detailed in the statement confirmed this account. The video captured students berating this victim as a sexual predator, recording the pursuit as they chased him, high-fiving one another a few minutes later.
Charlie Stevenson in the chat is right. If he had just called Bonnie Blue, none of this would have happened.
The woman's profile indicated she was 18. I mean, I don't know how there could ever be miscommunication about this.
And his name has not been leaked, correct?
The victim's name has not been leaked yet. No.
That's good because that means that he's not getting unwanted
he's never going to show up in the same headline, even out of context, as sexual predator. Yeah. But wow, these kids are in big trouble.
Yeah, they are.
They better be in serious trouble and probably get expelled because they used campus grounds to commit this act.
These days they're so lenient, probably won't even get expelled.
They go to a private school that they pay to go to.
Assumption?
This Assumption University.
That is ironic to the nth degree.
It's about the Assumption of the Blessed Virgin Mary, not about assuming things about other people. But
makes an ass of you and me, right? That's not good.
Chris Hansen would hate to see that this is his legacy.
Well, somebody pointed out earlier he did get in trouble, right? Because like he falsely accused somebody, and that guy committed suicide. And then they mentioned something like that in the.
I don't think that they mentioned him being falsely accused.
I don't know if that one was specifically a false allegation, but somebody did sue because somebody committed suicide, and then they sued the network, and then they paid out on the suit.
The guy was not falsely accused, but he did commit suicide after being the subject of one of Chris Hansen's episodes.
There could be a whole discussion to be had about very serious legal matters being turned into fodder for public viewing. Right?
What I really don't like
public
about
executions and public flogging and like punishment for the sake of public viewing has been a thing forever, right? Mm-hmm. So there could be a whole discussion about that, about what the moral implications are of making stuff like this entertainment. And then you get situations like this.
That's why I don't like these trends of people like Vitaly doing this, because you're literally just doing like the equivalent of catch and release for actual pedophiles. Sorry, PDF files. You're luring them into these situations, punching them a few times, and then sending them back out into the world to continue offending. Yep. So you're not actually doing anything except making yourself money. It's kind of disgusting. This also kind of touches on Gen Z's attitudes about age gaps, which are totally off the wall crazy. Like, if you think that an age gap between a 22-year-old and an 18-year-old is inappropriate, I just don't even know what to tell you. Like, you're from a different planet.
The hope is that these kids are held responsible, and this guy's got a huge lawsuit on his hand that he can lay at the feet of the families and all the college.
Family, the school, Tinder, sue everyone, sue everyone into oblivion after this. You deserve it. All right. Kenneth Hart said, Brett, you've seen the scene. It's what the Ranger was watching in Black Hawk Down before he has a seizure and Ewan McGregor takes his place.
Yeah, I vaguely remember. I've seen movies like Black Hawk Down or Zero Dark 30 like once each, but I know what you're talking about.
200 Watt Studio said Starbucks toilet paper was too thin anyway.
You should put that in the questions and comments box.
Ethan Miller said bathrooms aren't a problem at Caribou Coffee. I'm not going to go to Caribou Coffee. I'm not going to do it. 200 Watt Studio said, I miss McDonald's bathrooms where you could take your girlfriend. Okay, I'm not going to say the rest of that. That's insane. Gordon Shumway said, Mary, do you know how hard it is to get the stench
of hobo pee?
To get the stench of hobo pee out of the couch at your third place. I'm pretty sure Starbucks got tired of tossing piss-drenched couches over the years. Okay, what my point is, back in those times when they were still a third place, when they had comfortable furniture, I'm guessing that places like San Francisco were not as dangerous or disgusting as they are now.
Wait, isn't Cast Brew franchising? Is that going to be a third place, or is that going to be brutalist and like Tim will just show up to kick you the hell out after you get your coffee?
Wait,
go!
So I don't really get it. Does that mean that they're just selling it at different physical locations that already, like businesses that already exist?
I have no idea, but if they do open locations, that will be, I want to be there to watch Tim come down and be like, get out! You haven't bought anything!
Olvin McGoth said, I don't like country music, but I love folk.
Okay, that's
fair enough.
And to the previous comment, there's a line in Reacher, which I just started rewatching with the third season coming up, where he goes, I'm going to arrest you for vagrancy. And he goes, I'm not a vagrant. I'm a hobo. And then that's like
there's a difference.
In an investigation, details matter.
I would say that I'm an urchin.
There you go.
I would say I'm a street urchin.
There you go.
Or I don't know. Vagrant has its own appeal, but
Yeah.
I think I would go for urchin.
Well, I feel like if you're a hobo, you have to have the stick, with
Maybe
the bandana,
a
with all your
barnacle
stuff.
on the underbelly of society. Taxi Flatty said, Mary, it depends what part of Maryland for country music. Most of my coworkers here in Maryland love country music. You may have been too deep into suburbia. I grew up in Annapolis, so
I mean,
that may be true.
I mean, suburban white chicks love country music. Like, they do. They do.
I mean, I guess not the ones that I was
Is that
growing
was
up
that a
with
Minnesota
in
thing?
Annapolis.
Am I speaking of my own like just
Is it a Midwestern
location
thing?
bias or something
Might
like
be
that?
also
Like,
more of a Midwest thing.
I mean, pretty much every girl that I knew, even if they were into other genres, at least like some country music. It was the guys who would talk about how they hated country music.
What did they like instead?
I mean,
Rap?
rap, rock.
That was like the
Punk,
cool stuff
I
to
guess,
like.
yeah. I mean, it could have just been my friend group. This because I am from the suburbs, so
I referred to coworker music earlier, and
I still don't know.
you
what that
have
means.
heard that term, right?
No. Mm-mm.
Okay. It just means like music that your coworkers listen to because your coworkers are kind of two-dimensional NPCs that like hear songs on the radio or hear songs
You're
more
like,
likely
oh, Pharrell.
on TikTok.
I love Pharrell.
You hear a song on TikTok and like that's what you listen to.
Like in Minnesota, every guy grew up listening to underground rap because there was a strong underground rap scene in Minnesota. I was
Did you go to rap shows?
You go to yeah. I mean,
Personally?
I would, wasn't my favorite genre. I always thought it was too try hard. I would make fun of them for being like pseudo intellectual wannabes. This is like
Well,
I was like I don't want my rap music to be intellectual. I like it to like if you grew up listening to Tupac and Mac Dre and Bone Thugs and Harmony, I was like, yeah, that's great, but I want to hear music about like doing bitches and drive-bys.
Yeah, fair enough.
That's,
But did you actually go to
yeah.
these underground rap shows?
I mean, it's not underground. It's at local event. Like First Avenue
okay.
and 7th Street Entry was more rock music and stuff like that, or local stuff. But I always just
I would
thought
feel
it was,
very out of place.
But it was one of those things where like the people who were into it were really into it. So it was like if you went like with a friend as like a tourist of sorts, that's fine. But it just wasn't my scene.
200 Watt Studios. I'm not gonna read that. Christina Lee said Bonnie. Do I even want to read that one?
Bonnie Blue.
Do you want to say it? You can say the ones I'm not willing to read.
Clam chowder.
Okay. How about the Corey Anderson one? Because I don't want to say that one either.
Bonnie definitely has friction burn, and it's a sloppy taco.
Thank you, Brett, for
You're
your
welcome.
service. Okay, Christina Lee said, I don't like apes
no.
either.
Russell in the chat says Brett loves ICP. Take that back. No.
You never said that.
No. God, no.
Christina Lee said, I don't like apes either. Very unpleasant to look at. I'm glad someone agrees with me on this. I don't get the obsession. Especially chimps. They're like the least cute monkey ever. There are cute monkeys. I mean, even that, like, I'm not crazy about them. Like orangutans, at least they seem to be relatively harmless. But chimps actually like beat people to death. I don't want to like be in the same room as a chimp. That's terrifying. Yurishima Otaru said, unless the guys are completing, it doesn't count.
That was actually a question I did want to ask. I'm like, does that mean just like 3 pumps and go finish off in the corner by yourself? Or does that mean that they're...
Honestly, I still think that counts.
No? Well, I mean, it would have to be. It's like if we're talking about keeping it as little fluid as possible, then you're going to have to do it that way. Otherwise, the room is just going to be a clam chowder bowl of semen by the time you're done.
Oh, why did you have to say that? Gosh.
It's not my fault that she's the... Not my fault. Blame her.
It's just the way you described it was just disgusting. Corey Anderson said, can you imagine being the 1057th guy and the smell? I can't.
Was there like
I would not like to imagine the smell.
No, see, to me, it's like you're like guy 1058, and then she just calls it quits, and then
he's like, nope.
Your hand's on the door, and you're like, ugh.
Gotta try again next time. Yep. Yeah, I do not want to imagine any of that. Terrence Rice said, some harlot tried to recruit my little brother like this back in the early 2010s while he was on the clock at McAllister's. He was 18 to 19 at the time.
Excellent use of harlot in an everyday sentence.
I use it.
Yeah. See, that, like, I think a lot of people take issue with the fact that women are still kind of supposed to be portrayed in society as innocent and angelic, and they're not in a lot of ways. And you have to be returned to the world to know that there's plenty of debaucherous people of both genders.
Sure, I guess just in this case, there were over 1,000 times more men involved
yes, of course.
than women.
Yeah, no. But it's more monetarily beneficial for the one woman than the...
Yeah, but is this for her OnlyFans or just for the psychotic, thrill of it?
Like, nobody's ever actually seen the video of any of this
I don't think there's
stuff.
any proof. I feel like she has to be lying.
Does it have to be a time-lapse video?
She might be lying.
It's like one frame every 30 seconds or something like that. In that case, some of the guys won't even be in the shot because they got to be done in 30 seconds anyways. Mm-hmm. If it's one frame every 60 seconds, you're only going to get half the guys.
Mm-hmm. Corey Anderson said, God owes Sodom and Gomorrah an apology. We might be in for it. Shane H. Wilder said, so she wants to be a guinea pig and essentially a sex object in order to teach young men to not treat women as sex objects. How does that work?
She wants to do it for the money.
No, but really it's because she's an activist. Yeah. Okay. She's a sex
I don't know
education
what's worse,
activist.
The sex part or the activist part, but they're both bad.
Yeah, she is actually actively treating men to treat women as sex objects in the process.
We're about halfway to a fourth crisis party, guys.
Smoke Daddy 00 said, did you guys see Nosferatu? And what did you guys think?
I have not.
I have not either.
I've got to make a list of the movies I want to see. I looked
at... Is that on it?
No, because that was last year, technically. But I do need to... I don't know if I'm going to review a ton of movies this year because, like, logistically, it's just harder given where our the new studio is for us to see movies and review them. We would never be able to do them on Thursdays anymore. We would have to do them... We'd have to review them on Monday. Like, we'd have to see it over the weekend or something.
True.
It depends on whether people care if the reviews are just 3 days late or not. But I do have movies that I want to see this year. I had, like, a checklist somewhere, but...
Also, like, to be fair, it has been kind of a drought.
2024 was worse than 2023. I liked more movies in 2023 than 2024.
Dingus Khan said, I downloaded the Taco Bell app and found the right Crunchwrap combo for $7. My heart sings with joy now.
It's a beautiful thing.
I have been trying to tell people the good news, but don't blow up my spot because they might get rid of it. They might get rid of it if we talk about it too much. Just keep it to yourself. Enjoy it for yourself, but don't tell other people because they might get suspicious of us. Yep. And by the way, the countdown is on. I will be opening the Taco Bell app to get a $1 crunch wrap.
Well, you were going to take the week off, but then it became too much.
They heard me say that, and they were like, quick, give her a $1 crunch wrap. And it's like they know what I'm thinking, and they can get ahead of me. And I'm sorry, I'm just not going to pass up a $1 crunch wrap. Like, I am going to get it. I'm sorry. So that's going to be at 5 p.m. on the dot. Drewish AF of Christendom said the Lily Phillips situation is horrifying.
Yes,
but yes. Pat the Plumber, Mary, what is going on with the Catholics? What does that mean? Because of the university?
I don't know. Maybe it's like me. I sent you that article last week where the Pope tells the nuns to stop gossiping.
So it's like
I didn't
this.
even read the article. The headline just made me laugh.
I mean, he was right. He was right still to tell them that. But one of like Pope Francis's best takes in a while now. But like, this is a Catholic college in Massachusetts. I've never heard of it before. I think it has a lot more to do with the fact that they're Gen Z, and that kind of means that they have something insane in the membrane. You
should listen. I know you're not a Joe Rogan fan, but it was very interesting to listen to Joe Rogan talk to Mel Gibson about religion.
Yeah, I bet Mel Gibson has a really artful and eloquent way of talking about these things. It's like more soulful and less analytical. Yeah, well, I mean, he was saying like a lot of stuff that I just like terms that I didn't understand, but I'm just like, yeah, but he sounds like a terms like what? Do you remember? It's just, the whole conversation he was having was great, but it was one of those ones where I was driving home, so I wasn't fully paying. I don't care for Joe Rogan. I do like Mel Gibson. Like, he is cool, undeniably cool. Shane H. Wilder said the fact that this happened at a private Catholic university makes it feel like a 2000s raunchy comedy. It does. What would these kids' penance be? An Our Father, 3 Hail Marys, and a Glory Be ain't gonna cut it. That's literally what it was. For real. It would have been from a raunchy comedy in the 2000s. Rapscallion said, was just saying that the other day, born past 2004 is just another breed entirely. I graduated 2019, and thank God I was out of school before it got really bad. It was always bad, but it got really bad. Yeah, I feel just as lucky. I graduated high school in 2019, and it was just right in time to avoid Zoom school. Then I went to... That's a huge bullet dodged. Yeah, definitely. I would never have been able to do that. My attention span is so... Like, half the battle for me for school was just as long as I got there, I was okay. But like, if I was allowed to be at home where I could just fuck off and not pay attention, it would have been horrible for me. I mean, I would have done it, but I would have hated, I would have resented the hell out of it. And then I went to my first school, my first college, that is to say, when the one I chose at first. In the latter half of 2019, I dropped out. Then COVID happened. Then I went back to a different school that had no COVID restrictions whatsoever in 2020. So I didn't have to deal with any of that nonsense. Did you see I saw a clip where Lily Phillips said she's not giving the money back. What was your take on that? Or I'm sorry, Nala, you mean? Yeah, Nala Ray. I didn't watch the video. I got the gist of the conversation that was happening around her, but I did not watch her video about it. Should she have to give the money back? From a religious perspective? Honestly, I don't think I would be the person to ask, but I honestly don't think that it is necessary. No. She can do many other things that I don't think that is necessary. That can indicate that she's changed, and that's not that doesn't need to be one of them. I mean, I'm also coming at this from the perspective of a Catholic Christian in particular, and I know she isn't Catholic, but I mean, this is our perspective. You go to confession and you seek absolution for your sins. You will be given a penance to perform afterwards. And the penance does not always, in fact, most of the time, it does not equal the reversing the consequences of what you did. It's usually less than. Oftentimes, if you did something to someone that they're unaware of, the penance isn't even to tell them that you did that to them. Like, you could go, I mean, people get really uncomfortable with this idea, because it's a radical idea and it's one I believe in. But you go to confession, you confess that, for instance, I cheated on my spouse or whatever. The priest is is actually not supposed to give you the penance of admitting what you did.
To your husband.
And also
or
the
wife.
priest, of course, is not permitted under any circumstances to tell anyone what you did. So that's just not the penance for what you did. You can seek reconciliation with God, get it, and still not reverse the consequences of what you did because you were forgiven, but the consequences of what you did weren't erased, both negative and positive.
Yeah.
So I just don't really see there being a contradiction there.
I saw a lot of discussion back and forth, people having about whether it was right for her to keep the money.
Even if that is, even if that were necessary to receive forgiveness, which it's not, even if it were, then enforce it equally. Tell Andrew Tate to give up the money that he made from pornography then, you know? But like, I don't think that they would see that as fair. So that's my take, basically. Shane H. Wilder said, I was raised on country, rock, and soul, then branched into everything. If I want to annoy people, I put on Gregorian chant. I'm the only one who likes it. How is that possible? I love Gregorian chant. How can anyone not find it like so relaxing? I don't get it. DCNC said, Mary, would you prefer to be alone in the woods with a man or a chimp? A man. But, you know, a chimp actually has more strength to kill me. Literally, like chimps have more muscle mass than like huge jacked bodybuilders do. And it's in a smaller space. It's actually scary. 200 Watt Studio said, Brett, the clam chowder was my joke. And then he also wanted you to read the next one.
Well, I'm not going to read that. As soon
going
as he
to
said
read that?
Somebody said, don't do it.
You're not going to
I'm
read
not going to read it.
Okay. Corey Anderson.
You can't tell me what to do.
Corey Anderson said, chimps are apes, Mary. Ever meet Cassandra's monkey? She has several, I believe. But yes, I have. And I do find them cute. But chimps are not cute.
There was a night where this is back when we were at the castle, and it was getting close to around IRL time, and I was still upstairs doing post-production on PCC. And it was like one of those times where it's like you've been under the lights for so long. I like took my glasses off and went like this. Cassandra walks up the stairs with the monkey on her shoulder and asks where Tim is. And I'm like, dunno. And then she walks away and I'm like, is that a monkey?
You knew that she owned monkeys before that, right?
I did. I think. I definitely knew afterwards.
So if you're thinking, is that a monkey?
It's
probably a monkey.
Probably a monkey.
I wish you got a good look at it because it is really cute. Value in You said, do you think social media creates people who will do things like this woman for shock value? Or are they just people who destroy themselves anyway? They would not, in most of these cases, behave this way without the incentive of clout and money. No. But they have all the predictors. I mean, if you can look at the behavior of someone like a Lily Phillips and not think something happened in your childhood, like you just have no understanding of the human psyche. Shane H. Wilder
I'm
said,
ending the poll since we mentioned that.
Oh, yeah. How many hate
1,000
watchers?
votes. There are 27% of you that hate watch.
So 27% of the people that watch our show hate watch us.
I mean,
not
we
really, but
we didn't put us. We put stuff. I just said.
But I'm just gonna assume that anyway. Shane H. Wilder, Mary, you got to keep that fire tier on the Taco Bell app. I understand. Also, from a Catholic perspective, Nala doesn't have to give up the money. Yeah, I mean, it's funny because Nala is not Catholic. She's some other branch of Protestant, but I hope she becomes Catholic eventually. And yeah, I mean, it's purely to keep my fire tier on the Taco Bell app. It's purely practical. High Villager 75 said, in regard to the poll, I typically don't hate watch stuff, but I listen to a lot of talk radio while driving, and sometimes I'll turn on NPR for a laugh. Have you ever done that?
I don't listen to NPR. I've been in cars with people who listen to NPR.
You like listen to
All
stupid
things
things like that?
I listen to podcasts now that I commute farther, but before that I just listen to music.
I got really into listening to DC 101.1.
Oh yeah, I remember you telling me about that.
It was like a thing
You
for
were like,
me.
I want to get on the morning show.
I really want to.
Yeah. I've been listening to a lot of Nerdstalgic. They do a lot of
Nostalgic.
they do a lot of video essays, and so it's like this was the. I watched this one yesterday. It was like this was the moment the Transformers franchise died, and it's the point in Transformers: Revenge of the Fallen where John Turturro's character says, "I'm here just below the enemy scrotum." Which is a ridiculous line, because he's under Devastator, and it was like this big moment in the film where Devastator transforms, and you get this great visual effects shot. The problem is all of the visual effects in the Transformers movies are so grandiose, it doesn't really have the impact it's supposed to. But that line is so ridiculous, but at the same time, it's a Michael Bay Transformers movie, so it never stood out to me as particularly more egregious than anything else in the films. But he does this whole video about why that was the moment where the franchise had officially, I guess you would say, jumped the shark.
Omega Red fan said, did he cast IRL? Luigi is the guest.
I mean, they would have to talk back and forth. They would have to talk back and forth about who's king of the cell block.
Pat the Plumber said, I started watching Heels. I'm surprised at the variety of topics the show covers. Big recommend.
Yeah, I need. It's on Netflix, right? And I don't have Netflix anymore, so
What
I
is
haven't.
that?
It's a Stephen Amell show about a professional wrestling family. It's supposed to be really, really good.
That's why it's called that.
Yeah,
Okay.
Heels. I do want to watch it. Mary's like, is it about high heels? Count me in.
It's about shoes?
It's about shoes? Count me in.
You're so sexist, Brett. How dare you?
I know.
Okay, we're all caught up on the
well,
Super Chats.
I was hoping that we would get to a fourth crisis party, but I guess that's not going to happen unless anybody wants to do that before we get done with the outro. I can do the NPR outro. Don't make me do it. But all right, guys, before we go, would you hit the like button on this video and subscribe to this channel if you have not subscribed here yet already? Mary, where can they find you?
You can send me validation on Instagram at MaryArchived, or you can send me hate on X. That is also Mary Archived.
All things considered. If you guys would like to follow me, you can follow me on Instagram and on Twix at Brett Dasovic on both of those platforms. This show is here 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That is noon Pacific. We are on Amazon Music, Apple Podcasts, Pandora, and Spotify. If you would prefer to listen rather than watch this show, you can rate and review on Apple Podcasts and on Spotify. Those reviews help the channel out greatly, so thank you so much for that. And if you would like to follow the show on social media, we are on Twix at popculture_show, Facebook, and not TikTok, because we were banned on TikTok. Plus, TikTok is about to be banned anyway, at Pop Culture Crisis, and on Instagram at Pop Culture Crisis Pod. One more here from Seth Essington says, bye, Mary and Brett, and one more from Mr. Moose Knuckle.
So 20. Thanks, guys. I feel like I need a shower after today's show.
You
go ahead and take care of yourself.
I'm not gonna lie.
I'm actually so mad right now. It's saying, oops, there's like, we can't give you the Crunchwrap.
Why?
I don't know.
What is this bullshit?
Like, why do I even bother with these people? DCNC said, I just want to complain about American possums. Why the heck they look so ungodly? Australian possums are just cute. Okay, thanks, bye. I didn't know there was a difference. High Voltage 75 said, dance, monkeys, dance.
Well, we're about to be at the fourth. We're going to have to wait for it to
I'm
catch
actually
up.
so mad, though. Like, how are you going to scam me out of this?
You're after all that, like, hype manning you were doing for them during the show today.
Free advertisement for no reason. Insane.
That is some BS.
It's total BS, in fact.
That is some BS. That's
okay.
Some BS. I'm going to wait for the crisis meter to catch up to see if we have indeed gotten the fourth crisis party. I believe that we have, but we're going to wait for it just to find out.
I'm still troubleshooting.
Mary's figuring it out right now.
This is sick. They can't do this to people. They can't play with my emotions like this.
Especially somebody who loves Taco Bell as much as you do.
It's just not fair. It's just... Shane H. Wilder said, try it again, Mary. I just got it. I am. I'm
Ryan
hitting...
Johnson says restart the Taco Bell app.
I did, though. I don't know what's not working. I closed it, and then I opened it again. Do I need to put it in rice?
I don't know.
I don't know what's wrong.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we have reached a fourth crisis party. So
it says it's all gone.
Why though? Like,
It's
what makes it gone?
It said that only 30,000 people were gonna get it.
That was a limited time offer.
That's so lame. I'm gonna dance sadly now.
They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat, eat the cat. They're eating the dogs, they're eating the cats. Eat the cat.
Thank you.
Shane H. Wilder says, update the app.
I don't think it has an update, though. I updated everything.
Rapscallion says, from the Midwest, Taco John's over Taco Bell. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you, bro.
You know, someone said I should be a brand ambassador. I would be a Taco Bell brand ambassador if they treated me with respect.
Seriously.
But they don't.
All right, guys, we will be back with another episode tomorrow. We'll see you then.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.